What is up, everyone? Welcome to Reality Room Podcast with Paul and Chris.
Bringing the latest on Big Brother 18, episodes 13 through 16.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about. This is episode 28 of Reality Room Podcast.
So before we jump into it, I just want to say that if you guys want to chat with us on the BB Live feeds, the name of our chat is Reality Room Podcast. Either PM us your name and we'll add you, or just look at us in the BB Live feeds.
Oh, yeah, so let's just get right into the episode.
So many of you were talking to us.
So, alright, so let's just talk about the veto competition episode. Day 31, Nicole's not happy, starts crying in the DR because Corey's on the block. Corey thinks it's Frank that put him up on the block. Day knows Tiff won and is being really, really quiet about it. Don't know why. Paulie bothers Tiffany before the whole entire roadkill competition. I know, gotta fix that. Before the roadkill competition, Paulie confronts Tiffany and was like, yeah, you're not going to do good. And then Tiffany was like, they got into this big fight. And it was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like a little stupid little thing. They just had like this little fight. And, you know, you don't really want to get into a fight with the HOH.
Yeah.
I mean, he already put you up. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of okay. But Corey is also really fucking stupid for not believing that Tiff won, even though everyone's been saying it was Tiff. He's like, oh no, I don't believe Tiff could win, yada yada. So, you know, Corey's being dumb too.
Yeah, so Tiff says to Frank, with James and Bridget in the room, that the numbers matter. Tiffany tells James about the 4 personal lines with Nicole, Corey, Z, and Paulie. Corey's not buying into Frank's lies. Paul doesn't understand why Day is talking to Frank. It's kind of weird. Paul says if Tiff goes down, Day will go up. Mm-hmm. Paul says Paul has a passion for baking muffins.
Yeah, I mean, like, Paul, he's just been so low-key lately, so he's just been, like, baking muffins and shit, which is, you know, I think it's pretty funny. So, and, you know, the way that Day was talking, she was like, oh, I'm going to go up on the block, you know, on what scenario, and I'm like, Day, you know, maybe you shouldn't really be saying that, you know? Yeah, what do you think about that?
I mean, I agree with you 100%. I don't know why Day's doing what she's doing.
She's being like a little flimsy. I mean, she's like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
I don't know.
Come on, Day!
Davon, stop doing
Have a little more trust in people.
So the veto players are Paulie, Tiff, Natalie, Corey. Paulie picks Day and Paul. And Zakia is hosting. So pretty much the challenge is they have to like move around ice cream parts in a cone.
Yeah, and it's like a little there's 3 cones and you have to move, and there's 3 different colors and you have to manage it in six scoops in a particular order.
So Corey beats Tiffany, and then the rest of it is just like, let's just... And then I remember on the live feeds, Paul just like, after Tiffany, you know, got eliminated, we all can just have fun. It doesn't really matter, because as long as Tiffany doesn't win it...
Yeah, there was a little thing during the comp where they were going to throw it to Paul.
Yeah.
And they were going to have Paul take down Corey, so Tiff could not put up Paul.
Exactly.
But Paul was going so fucking slow that Corey was just like, Paul, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
And it was just got so awkward that it was like, yeah, if I don't win right now, it's going to look like I'm throwing it, so he just won it.
Yeah, so Corey beats Tiffany, Paul beats Natalie, Paulie beats Davon, and then Corey beats Paul, and then Corey beats Paulie, which means that he wins the veto, and Nicole is crying because she might go on the block.
Like, oh my god, like, I can't believe I'm going to go on the block. Like, oh my, I can't take it.
I don't get that.
And Corey was on the block before, and I wanted him to win veto, and now I might go up.
Yeah, so Tiffany is pretty much saying that Day needs to go on the block because she could be a bigger target over herself. Tiffany is sketched by Day. Day tells Frank about the Fatal 5, and Day gets nominated for...
Just want to clarify something before you get into it. So, Tiff was not originally going to put Day on the block, but she walked in a room, and she was being sketchy as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, so sketchy. She was being like, oh, so what's the plan now? And Tiff didn't know what she was going to do. So she was like, I don't know. Day's like, just walks out of the room after like 2 seconds. I'm like, Day, no. I mean, like, at least fucking pretend. Mm-hmm. Like, when people are coming after you, like, you know, when people are coming after Day, she usually sees it.
Yeah.
But she also sees it when people aren't coming after her. Like, she thinks people are coming after her when they're not. Yeah. And that's what this was. And that actually inspired Tiff to put her on the block.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was pretty wise, honestly.
So Day says that Tiffany's a cheap knockoff of her sister when she gets nominated for eviction.
Even though Tiff's nothing like her sister.
I know. Glenn has been... Okay, so we're not... I guess we're moving forward to this. I think this was the same episode. I'm not 100% sure. But Glenn says he's been in sequester. Glenn said he would go after the vets. Jose says Day's a snake. Victor doesn't blame anybody for,
Well, he says he was
let's go after Paulie.
He said he would go after Paulie.
Yeah, whatever. Bronte is after people who voted her out, and
Tiff is after anyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everyone that's not Frank or Bridget, basically.
So let's just move forward, because obviously Corey uses the veto, uses it on himself.
Yeah, Corey uses the veto on
gets...
himself. Tiff puts on Devon, and...
So let's just go on with the eviction episode.
Yeah.
So, obviously, 8 people are voting. If it's a tie, Paulie's going to break it. And by unanimous vote, Tiffany gets eliminated.
Yeah, and then during the episode, it kind of looked... in the live feeds at the time, rather... it looks like they had 4 votes to evict Devon, but they could not secure a 5th vote. They had Nikori, they had Tiffany. No, wait, no, not Tiffany. Sorry, they had Frank and Bridget and Nikori. So those are the 4 votes. But Paulie was always going to vote Tiff out no matter what, and so were the other 4 people in the house. So it's just the way it is. So Tiff gets eliminated.
And she says, like, if she had to do anything differently, she would not be emotional like her sister. And then...
That's what she said when she was talking to Jeff in the interview when she was first going to the house. He's like, oh, so what are you going to do different from your sister? I'm not going to be emotional. Yeah. Tiff, it's just in your blood.
That's just how it is.
You just, it's just the way it is.
She was really good on Sequester, and I just didn't want... I was surprised on how she played Big Brother. A little bit, and I did comment on, like, when we did the cast analysis thing about her gameplay. Like, I was like a little worried that she was gonna be Vanessa versus sister, but then like she did fine. She did okay in the beginning, and then it just like she just got a little emotional after the Bronte blindside.
Well, I mean, like, people got a little too like analytical with her. Like people were comparing her to her sister when perhaps at
only
times...
Paulie was at the time with Bronte, and then after
that's because Paulie never shut up about it. Like,
that's why.
There's a video online like where Paulie talked about him comparing her to her sister like 24 times. Like 24 times. Like, Paulie, do you ever like a Vanessa fetish or something? Like, maybe you should like get yourself checked out. Yeah, I mean, he has a Vanessa fetish. So, she probably has a Derek fetish.
Do you want to go over what they were talking about in the eviction episode, or do you want to skip to it? It's up to you. I think we kind of know that. Yeah, Paul tells Zay about the whip hair thing.
The whip hair thing was so stupid, by the way.
I thought that was funny. I remember Jason Roy put it on Twitter. The 3 strings of hair, 0.5 seconds, like, so intimidating.
If I was in the house, I would have done the same thing with my hair. But I would have walked a little closer to them because, it's a little shorter.
So...
The weave. Got your day.
Yeah, Natalie is mad at James and feels regret that...
I was so dumb.
I don't get that. Like, James and Natalie got into a huge fight. Corey says there's reasons to get Day out of the house. Nicole said that Day threw her alliance and Tiff under the bus. Paulie says Mom Day's not smart. Day is scared that Tiff is with everyone. Like, I don't know. Day talks to James about breaking showmances. Okay, let's just talk about that. Like, the whole showmance thing.
Okay, well,
why did you...
First off...
It wasn't really smart, I felt like.
I think Day feels that she's in, like, a corner right now, and she knows that she's a target, so she thinks that she can trust James. And she's like, James, we should go after the showmances. But James is in a showmance. In fact, he's probably in the most...
Powerful showmance.
One of the most one of the most powerful, I would agree. Yeah. Well, not necessarily, not for mental comps, but one of the most legitimate showmances, like the ones that actually acknowledge themselves as pure showmans. Because Nicole and Corey, they're still like, they're like together.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily... it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm dating you. Like, they're actually dating. James and Natalie.
I know.
It just happened today. We're shooting this on Monday. This happened like yesterday or the other day. Yes. And Paulie and Zakiya, they've been fighting and shit recently. And Paulie doesn't want a showman.
There's so many fucking showmances. Other than Paul.
Fuck.
And Michelle.
Well, some people are saying Victor and Michelle now. So
really? I don't think so. I don't see that.
Some people are saying Paul and Victor. I'm just kidding, guys.
So obviously there was like a lot of...
Victor might get into... I hate to jump the gun here, but Victor is kind of hanging out a lot with Nicole and Corey.
Oh my god.
So some people are saying it's like a 3-way showmance. Okay, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Okay, so moving forward to that, nothing to worry about Devon this week. Let's talk about the Battle Back episode really quickly. It starts off with
Glenn and
Glenn
Jose.
and Jose.
Who wins, Chris?
Jose wins. And this was the same competition.
Week 2.
Week 2.
Well, week 3 technically, but the second HOH.
That Paulie won with the berries. They had to bring the berry back. And I also like the strategy behind it with the poison berry.
Well, for one, Chris, it's scenarios.
I don't get why Glenn... I feel like
Scenarios.
Glenn kind of wasted his poison berry. Like, he should have used it a little bit more... Later, yeah.
Well, he was going to lose anyway, honestly. Like, if
I
you're
know,
slow and Jose gets his poison berry, like, there was no way you could win. It would have been all luck.
Yeah. So, after that, Glenn... Poor Glenn.
He was in the house a couple
he was
weeks.
in sequester, too. It's just... That's
But,
unfortunate.
I like Glenn. He's a good guy. He's pretty high on Jokers now, but that's only because everyone else is so low. Maybe you should try harder, house guest.
All right, so
Just saying.
moving forward, Josiah has a versus Victor, and this was the same HOH that Bridget won with
Yep.
like the bouncing thing on a.
That was a close one.
Yeah.
It was like 4 or 5. Victor wins,
Yeah.
obviously.
Victor wins it. Yeah, and Jose goes bye bye, and then Victor versus Bronte, and Bronte like completely messes up.
Can I just say something about Bronte here? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Bronte, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do math on my head, like. It's like
I can't believe she did worse than Victor though. I was surprised by that. I honestly thought Bronte had this in the bag.
I thought so too. Like when I was first watching it, I was like, okay, Bronte's gonna win. It's gonna be Tiff versus Bronte.
Yeah.
But no. Bronte's like, oh, I mean, I only have like 3 or 4 left, so I'm just gonna switch everything and hope the combinations work out. Someone did like the calculations on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, not on Facebook, on Twitter, and they're like, oh, it's like Bronte. It's like 1 and it's like a million different combinations that you can do.
Yeah.
I think it's like 16 times 15 times 14 times 12.
Like just get the
Maybe
answer
it's not-
right.
maybe
Like,
it's
come
12
on.
times
Do
11.
process of elimination.
No, that's not how it works. That's what she was doing.
Oh.
But
I'm saying like whoever wears, because some of the questions were like who's wearing the glasses and all this other stuff, and they didn't seem like they were that hard on. Like no offense.
let me do the math here.
Okay, well I'll just keep talking about it, and then you do the math. So obviously Bronte loses because she only needed like 3 more, but unfortunately, she wasn't quick enough. So it's between Victor and Tiffany, and like they do that pretty much. They just have to do a puzzle. It's pretty quick. So what happens is Tiffany gets far, and then Victor gets far too. But the problem is that they didn't move it up by once.
Yeah, they
by one space.
both made the same mistake.
It almost seemed like Tiffany was copying Victor.
Well,
because
Victor was also copying her, I think. So I just did the math, and if you were to do it all random between the 6 of them, with the 12 house guests left at the time, it would be a 1, and it would be 665,280 combinations.
Yeah, so no.
Hey, Bronte, math girl, prime numbers. No.
Yeah, I honestly thought Tiffany was going to win this competition just because it was a mental one, and she's really good at puzzles.
I think I thought so too, but I think maybe we're underestimating Victor a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Like Victor, I think Victor going back in the house versus Tiffany, I think Victor will make it a little bit more further. I feel like if it was Tiffany,
a little more.
I think in James 1 veto, James would just put Tiffany right back on the block.
Probably, yeah. Although
it would have been the same.
Well, maybe
scenario.
Tiff would have won. You never know.
But anyways, Victor gets back into the house, and Julie announces that there's a secret room that's going to be there for like 4 weeks, and they get a special power if they find out what this room is.
Okay, so speculation. A lot of people have been speculating that it's a special veto. A lot of people have been speculating it's a coup d'etat. Some people are speculating it's a diamond power veto. What do you have any thoughts?
No idea. Not even going to bother guessing.
I'm going to guess, just for the hell of it. Why not? I'm going to guess it's a coup d'etat. And I want you guys in the comment section, let us know what you think it is.
Yeah.
If you have any specific idea, we might already know by now. There are rumors saying that Paul found it already, right?
Yeah, Paul found it. It's confirmed.
There's some rumors that Paul found it, whatever the hell it is. So we'll see what it is.
So let's just move to the final episode, which is the
nomination ceremony.
Nomination
HOH.
ceremony, HOH competition, and it's an endurance comp. So we
Yes.
all know James is going to win this one for sure.
Yeah. So before that, I just want to say that the HOH competition takes up over half the episode.
Yeah, it's 5 hours. They were on there for 5
I
hours.
know. Like, did any of us expect it would stay on that long? It seemed like a pretty
it's kind of
tough
like
come.
hard. Like you just have to do this for 5 fucking hours.
Yeah, I mean,
straight.
I guess it's not tough in that sense, but like moving your legs around, like you think
Yeah.
someone would get distracted every once in a while.
Davon did like good.
I'm
I was
surprised.
surprised by Davon.
Well, she played a lot of sports back in when she was in school.
yeah.
At least if my memory of the live feeds are correct.
Mm-hmm. So in this episode, Frank and Bridget get James wins HOH and nominates Frank and Bridget for eviction.
And James
but
makes a promise
before
to
that, yeah.
Bridget
James makes a
that-
promise to Bridget. Same shit he did last season with
That-
Shelly and Clay.
that her and Frank won't go up.
And
Yes.
Natalie, it almost seemed like Natalie was a little pissed off that she was trying to convince James, like, you made a promise.
Well-
just because she doesn't want Bridget up on the block.
No, Natalie's just a very honest player, and when she makes a promise, she keeps it, and that's basically why she might have been a little upset. But in the long run, I think Natalie knew that it would be Frank leaving and not Bridget, so she wasn't that upset.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So like during this competition, like everyone falls off, and it's between Bridget, James, and Davon, and we have this whole thing with Frank, and Frank tells Davon that Nicole, like what was it? Nicole wanted her out. Is that it?
It was Davon talked to Nicole,
Yeah.
and Davon told Nicole, "Listen, I want Frank out before Victor."
Oh.
And then Nicole went up to Frank and told
Oh.
him what they said. So during the HOH competition, Frank walked up to Davon and told her, "Listen, this is, someone told me that you wanted me out this week. I don't want you out. So will you please fall and give it to Bridget?" And
Yeah.
Dave's like, "No, I will not do that.
Yeah.
Unless you tell me who it was that told you that." And he whispers Nicole.
Yeah.
And Nicole's like, "No, I didn't say that."
And then like Davon was like confronted Nicole about it, and Nicole pretty much like
Lied.
is lying, and Davon knows it, but she doesn't really care. She's smart
Yeah, I
about
mean-
it. Like, talk about it later.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I believe you, Nicole.
Yeah, that's pretty.
But she also lied, which honestly, it makes more sense to do that. I think about it because it doesn't make sense to start a fight over it, especially when one, you're not in power, so you don't have any control anyway.
Yeah.
And two, Nicole is friends with a lot of powerful people in the house, so maybe getting on her bad side isn't a good thing. So Davon had that kind of foresight, which I appreciate about her gameplay.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I respect that.
Amen.
I like Davon this season. I think she's doing good, and I think
Get her
this
out.
this person who's leaving, it's most likely going to be Frank or Bridget, because spoiler alert, ding 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 ding,
Ding, ding, ding, ding, ding.
Michelle wins veto and she doesn't use
Bitch.
it, and we're gonna talk about that because we have some time to do some spoilers. And
Michelle hates Bridget. Well,
Yeah.
we already knew that.
yeah, Michelle, like Bridget confronts Michelle about like, you hated me this whole time. Michelle's like, well, you haven't really talked to me that much.
She hasn't talked to her either. So it's like, come on.
But
it's-
like Bridget did it. I'm telling you right now, Bridget did that because it was right before the veto meeting. It was like at least an hour before the veto meeting when Bridget confronted Michelle about it.
who gives a fuck when it was?
I mean, but Michelle knows that. Michelle's like, yeah, I have talked shit about you. That's
It's
just how
it's
it is.
because she was speculating if she would use the veto on Frank. That's
No.
the only
No.
speculation. Yes, it is.
No, I'm saying like no, like that's
Because Michelle wants Bridget gone. So she's probably trying to pull information out of her. Seeing,
she wasn't the one that initiated that conversation. It was Bridget who started
I know that.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Bridget was probably curious
yeah,
because she knows that Michelle wants her out rather than Frank.
maybe yeah.
So she was speculating, listen, maybe she's using the veto on Frank. That's probably what she was thinking.
she
And
didn't
just
ask
wanted
that.
to
She didn't
know.
ask that during that
She
conversation.
didn't have to.
I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter.
Michelle probably just would have brought it up, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. She doesn't use a veto, and one of them's
Yeah.
not going to make it a jury. It's mostly going to be Frank.
Probably gonna be Frank, unfortunately. I kind of, he's grown on me recently.
Yeah.
He's number 3 in on Jokers
And
right
Bridget's
now.
like 5, apparently.
Yeah, so they just hate each other, so it doesn't really matter, honestly.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, so
Alright.
I guess that covers.
All 4 episodes. I'm surprised at how well we did.
Well, yeah, that was pretty quick, and we're putting this out a little late for some
Yeah.
of them, but it is what it is. All right, guys, so this has been Reality Room Podcast
Episode 28.
with Paul and Chris. Check us out on live feeds, guys. Until next time, peace. And